Hey peeps, Stylish Pancake here, and this is my first Bundle Roundup. What is the Bundle Roundup? It's where I scour the internet for various game bundle deals and let you know a bit of what's out there and what I may or may not know about them. I'm going to go through some bundles and give a short description of some of the games, then I'm going to come back around and show some video clips and some commentary on a few of the ones that I have skipped. The first one is going to be the Humble Weekly Sale, which has a couple days left on it at humblebundle.com/weekly. The Humble Bundle is always for charity and lets you pick your money split with developers, which is always great. And for $1 or more, you'll get Steam Keys for Thomas Was Alone, Puzzle Bots, Dust Force, Cave Story Plus. If you drop $6 or more, you'll get Roos and Limbo, which almost sounds like I'm saying Rush Limbaugh. Cthulhu Saves the World, Mutant Muds Deluxe, Elemental, where the 4 is a magical elite A, and Lone Survivor. For $10 or more, you'll also get Teslagrad. Now, Thomas Was Alone is a minimalist platformy puzzle game where you're a little box and you jump around on other boxes and such. Puzzle Bots' title is almost a total giveaway. In this game, you do puzzles with little robots. Who knew? In Roos, you play as a giant who controls the Earth, and you create a world. Not much more to say about that. And Lone Survivor is a strange mix of stealth, survival horror, adventure game ideas, among other things. It seems kind of unique. It almost seems somewhat little Left 4 Dead-y, almost, to some extent. And Elemental, with its weird 4, is a platforming physics-type 2D game with no enemies or anything, just a lot of smooth-flowing platforming stuff. The next bundle is the Blink Bundle at blinkbundle.com. This is the trading card bundle, so everything on this bundle right now does have Steam trading cards right now. This bundle contains, for $2 or more, To the Moon, Bad Hotel, Really Big Sky, Shuffle Puck Cantina Deluxe, Gravity Badgers, and a still unknown bonus game. For $5 or more, you can get Saturday Morning RPG, Vanguard Princess, Oknit, OKYNTT, I don't know how that's supposed to be pronounced, Dead Hungry Diner, Coup, Shroud of Morgan, Major Mayhem, Skyward Collapse, Unearthed, Trail of Ibn Battuta, Episode 1, and another unknown bonus game. To the Moon is a 16-bit styled game about some people that modify people's memories before they die so that they can be happier at the end. And it's kind of interesting. I did a demo of it myself. They kind of learn more things about the one guy that they do this to in the game. It's kind of interesting. Bad Hotel claims to be a tower defense game and a procedural music toy. It looks fairly strange. And Really Big Sky is an arcadey space shooter kind of deal. And Gravity Badgers is more or less an Angry Birds space clone. There's really not a lot more to say about that one. As for Saturday Morning RPG, it's an RPG which claims to be nostalgic and heavily influenced by Saturday morning cartoons in the 80s. It looks pretty silly. Dead Hungry Diner looks like an Undead Diner Dash. Not really anything to write home about there. And Major Mayhem also looks like a weird casual mobile shooty game sort of deal. And Skyward Collapse is a turn-based strategy and simulation title where you strive to maintain the balance of power like God instead of joining a faction just fighting for one side. So that's kind of a little different. Then over at Groupies, they run a few bundles at a time, and right now one of them is the Clash of the Worlds Central Europe Edition bundle, which you can get for $1 or more. This is like half music. I'm not going to go over that. However, it does have Gianna Sisters, Twisted Dreams, Realms of Arcania, Blade of Destiny, Where Angels Cry, Nightmares from the Deep, and Song of Myrne, What Lies Beneath. Realms of Arcania is an old RPG from 1992 remade. Where Angels Cry and Nightmares from the Deep are both casual adventure point-and-clicky type kind of games. And Song of Myrne is an overhead retro-styled short action RPG dealie. Groupies also has another bundle right now, which is all point-and-clicky adventure-type games. I'll read the titles off, but not a lot to say on these. These are Egypt 3, The Egyptian Prophecy, Atlantis, The Lost Tales, A Road to India, Amerizone, The Explorer Legacy, Corsair's Gold, The Secrets of Atlantis, Red Johnson's Chronicles, and Pompeii. And I believe, if I remember right, there was another potential bonus to be unlocked on that one, if anyone cares. And now to Bundle Stars at bundlestars.com. Now, these guys, they carry a lot of bundles. They tend to keep like 10 or active or something at a time. I'm going to skip the first new bundle because it's entirely made up of 10-plus-year-old strategy games. If you really like strategy games, want to play some old stuff, go check that one out. But I'm not going to talk about that one much. First, I will cover the Conquest bundle, though, which for $5 contains Call of Juarez, A Game of Dwarves Gold Edition with 3 DLC, King Arthur II, the role-playing war game, American Conquest, Incoming Forces, Cossacks II, Napoleonic Wars, Cossacks European Wars, 99 Levels to Hell, Expand Rally Extreme, Ballpoint Universe Infinite, Hyper Fighters, and Lucius. Call of Juarez is a first-person shooter set in the Wild West. It got pretty average ratings, however, it has managed to spawn like 3 sequels, I think. Next is Game of Dwarves Gold Edition, which is sort of a casual strategy town builder kind of deal. And King Arthur II, the role-playing war game, is, well, a role-playing war game. It's a strategy game with role-playing elements. American Conquest and the Cossacks titles are pretty much just a bunch of old strategy games. Incoming Forces is an old shooter. As for 99 Levels to Hell, that's a roguelike 2D platformer shooter kind of deal. Then there's Expand Rally Extreme, which is pretty self-explanatory. It's a racing game. And then you have Ballpoint Universe Infinite, which is a strange shoot-'em-up adventure, as the developers call it. It's all hand-drawn with ballpoint, and it looks sort of unique. That might be something you want to take a look at and look at some screenshots. It is weird. And then there's Hyper Fighters, which is actually relatively newly released. It's a rather nice-looking rail shooter kind of thing. It might not be too bad. And lastly is Lucius, which is where you play a creepy little boy with supernatural powers that does all kinds of evil things. And from his picture in the box art, he kind of looks like young Lord Voldemort. And then one more bundle to overview before I cut some clips. The last one is the Toxic bundle from Bundle Stars for $5. This one contains Stalker, Clear Sky, 7th Guest, 11th Hour, Shadow Man, Exotic, I believe that's how you're supposed to pronounce that, Dark Out, Desperados 2, Cooper's Revenge, Triblues 2, Runespell Overture, and Heroes of Annihilated Empires. Stalker Clear Sky is one of the first-person shooters in the Stalker series. I think it's like the second one, where you hang around Chernobyl doing various things and trying not to die from radiation. Those are supposed to be pretty reasonable games. 7th Guest is probably a well more known name than 11th Hour, but it and 11th Hour are both point-and-click horror adventure games from the 90s. Shadow Man is also an old title. It's sort of an action game that contains some horror and major voodoo elements to its story. Dark Out is a sandboxy sort of deal in a 2D platformer fashion, except it isn't like 16 or 8-bit-ish looking like Terraria or Starbound are. I actually haven't heard much about this one, so I don't really know what's going on with that. It's not that old, though. And then there's Desperados 2, which is a Western game. Not a lot to say on that one. Triblues 2 is a casual, cute time management game. Then we have Runespell Overture. That is an indie RPG casual sort of card game thing. And Heroes of Annihilated Empires is a strategy game. And now we will start some video clips up. Okay, now on to some actual clips of the others I did not mention. The following games are in the Humble Weekly Bundle. First, we have Dust Force, which I have tested a demo of myself. It's about 4 dig janitors who are all a little different, and you rush through levels as fast as you can, cleaning as much as you can, building a score and stuff to the max. And this can be brutal somewhat. It's kind of in the realm of Super Meat Boy-like games. So if you're into that, that's kind of a cool thing, and it's got a pretty cool soundtrack to go with it too. So if you're into game music, that might not be a bad thing either. Next up is which I believe is supposed to be like a ton of spikes in the game, like these. This is sort of a 2D platformer thing, except you flip gravity instead of jumping, and it's supposed to lead to some interesting developments, and there's quite a lot of spikes in this game, as you can imagine, because that's what it's all about. And next is Cave Story Plus. This one is a particular favorite of mine. It's a very well-made Metroidvania type title. It was originally released free and only in Japanese unless you patched it. I think the original is actually still available, but later on the developer cleaned up the graphics, made a more 16-bit, less 8-bit soundtrack, although you believe you can change to the old one, and he put language packs into the game and have re-released it as the awesome copy that we have here today. I highly recommend this game as it has great gameplay, a great soundtrack, and some cute art to boot. And next is Limbo. What's Limbo? Limbo is a puzzle platformer. It takes place in a very unique, strange, smoke and shadows type setting, as you can see here. It supposedly has a lot of type platforming, as well as some interesting puzzles. I haven't actually played this one, but it is pretty highly rated, and a lot of people seem to like it, so there must be some people out there that aren't wrong, right? And next up is Cthulhu Saves the World. I have played this one through, and I actually really enjoyed it. If you're looking for a super complex RPG, this probably is not what you're looking for. But if you're looking for something that's kind of reasonable, linear, and with a lot of great humor and other RPG jokes, and pretty good music to boot, this is a good game to check out. Zeboyd's other title, Breath of Death 7, is also pretty damn funny and also very similar. You can also pick that one up pretty cheap on Steam even, or you might have it on the Humble Store or something as well. Next is Mutant Mud. This game has a classical chiptune style soundtrack, and its art style is something they call 12-bit. It does seem like it's between 8 and 16-bit if you look at it. It seems like a pretty solid platformer. You can also do some rather strange things like jump into the background of the map. I also like to throw out there that the character in this kind of reminds me of what the Angry Video Game Nerd looks like in Angry Video Game Nerd Adventures, so that's kind of funny that he looks like that. And next is Teslagrad. This is an indie platformer where you, to no surprise, have electric and magnetism powers, and it takes place in a steampunk-inspired old Europe. They say it's a 2D puzzle platformer with action elements. Some of the people on Steam are flagging it as Metroidvania, and I have not played this, but boy do I love myself some Metroidvania. I would like to pick this up myself. And next is some stuff from the Blink Bundle. We first have Shufflepuck Cantina Deluxe. You wouldn't think I'd want to bother with a clip of this, but it actually looks like a really clean little Shufflepuck game, which is, I don't know, it's somewhat similar to air hockey. I think some other Shufflepuck games are like, you have to land in some weird little goals on the board and stuff. I don't know what the games are actually like here, but it seems like it's got really great, cute little animations, and it's got power-ups and unlocks, and oddly enough, it has a story. It seems like the art is somewhat charming. I'm still surprised it has a story. And next is Coup Shroud of Morrigan. Now, this game is actually not that old. It's actually really recent and just came out in March this last month. The developers call this a Celt-punk action-adventure set in a future Ireland ravaged by techno-magical war and economic collapse. That sounds pretty hilariously amazing anyway, but the game does seem slightly of Bastion's playstyle, it looks like, so I'm kind of wondering what that's like. Whether it actually really plays anything similar to that is your guess as good as mine. And lastly, on the Blink Bundle is Unearthed Trail of Ibn Battuta Episode 1. Now, this may not look like the best game ever on here, especially since adventure titles are not everyone's bag and often get seen only casually these days. But I found this one interesting because it takes place in the Middle East. It's a setting for a story in the Middle East that is not a crappy Call of Duty game. It's not a military thing, and I don't know if the game is any good, but it's just refreshing to see something set in the Middle East that's different and isn't a military shooter and isn't going out of its way to make the good people over there that are not making everybody over there look bad. You know, it's, you know what I'm saying? There's good people over there, but the news makes them, a lot of them, look bad, and it's just good to see something that looks a little more natural to the setting. It's also actually in 3D, and it looks like it's not just some point-and-click thing. It also has full voice acting in English and Arabic, and has a total of 21 languages that it supports for subtitles and menus, which is quite a bit of localization for a small-time game. And next is the only game that I'm going to put in here from the Groupie Central Europe bundle, and that is Gianna Sisters. This is kind of a cute platformer where you flip between a light and dark sister and opposing worlds, where the platforms and whatnot may be different in places, but it's also kind of fast-paced, very colorful, and has really smooth art. It's gotten pretty average reviews on the Metacritic, but the actual reviews from certain critics have been really good, and I didn't think the demo was bad. I haven't played the full one yet, but I have it, and I should do it sometime. Maybe I should do a let's play of it, I don't know. And lastly, from a bundle I actually did not go over, is Septerra Core. One of the Bundle Stars bundles right now is the RPG Champions bundle. I don't want to go over the whole thing, but for $5 you can snag Septerra Core in that bundle, along with some other things, and I wanted to give them a shout out. Septerra Core is a PC RPG from the late 90s, which I don't think many played. It has a rather unique story, a nice assortment and variety of characters and styles for those characters. The world is also very varied. There's a good variety of different types of cultures and technology levels and whatnot across the game, including some steampunk-esque style before anyone was really calling it that. I never actually managed to finish the game because something always stopped me. I actually ended up starting it over twice, and I still got stopped. But from what I did play, this is a pretty good great mash of JRPG style and turn-based combat, as well as some Western-style feels to it, with the point-and-click movement since it's an old PC RPG. I do think this is worth checking out, and hopefully it has not aged too badly, although I have heard the Steam version has gotten a little glitchy with the overlay. And I guess that wraps up the first Bundle Roundup, folks. Please comment, like, or subscribe if you enjoyed this, and I'll see you next time.